Hi everyone in years 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is our third lesson on informative writing. Alright, so let's have a review and look at what we looked at last week on informative writing. So informative texts are texts which intend to inform the reader or viewer. They use facts to describe and explain people, animals, objects, events or phenomena such as natural disasters and things like that. And informative texts use clear language and technical vocabulary. So technical vocabulary is referring to words we would only see in that text in relation to what it's about. For example, if the text was about spiders, there would be a technical word for that specific spider that would be in there and other technical language that you would only see in an informative text about a spider. So what we're going to look at today is the structure of an informative text, and we're going to start by looking at a jumbled report. So this jumbled report goes over a few slides, and what we're going to do is we're going to read through the 3 paragraphs here and then think about what subheading would go with each paragraph. So with the subheadings, we have a diet, behavior, and threats. What I'd like you to do is pause your video now and read through those 3 paragraphs in your head, and then we're going to talk about the answers. All right, so hopefully you've had a chance to pause your video and read through those paragraphs, and I'm going to read through them now, and we're going to discuss how to work out what subheading goes with each paragraph. So penguins have to ensure their feathers are always flawless, otherwise they can lose too much heat when swimming in the cold water. They have 9 different calls, including barks and yelps. So to me, that's automatically, I'm thinking it's sort of sounding like the one we have here, behavior, so what they act like. So what I'm going to do is I will just put a circle around behavior and then put a red mark next to it so we can remember that. So that's sounding like about how penguins act. Let's have a look at the next one. Penguins are carnivores and like to catch fish, whitebait, and squid to eat. They swallow their prey whole and have a spiny tongue and powerful jaw to grip the slippery fish. So a carnivore means that they only eat meat. So this one is obviously talking about the diet of what a penguin eats. So I'm going to circle diet and then put a little mark next to here so I remember that that's where diet would go. The last one then is little penguins often fall prey to sharks and seals in the water and cats and dogs and foxes on land. They are also threatened by overfishing, pollution, fishing nets and disturbances to the beaches and ocean. Their conservation status is listed as least concern. So this is the threats to the penguins' livelihoods and lives. So for the jumbled report so far, we've been able to match up the diet, the behavior, and the threats. All right, let's look at the next 4 of our jumbled report and subheading, see where we would match them up. So we have habitat, location, conclusion, and babies. What I'd like you to do now is pause your video and read through those paragraphs and think about which subheadings match up with each of the paragraphs. All right, let's have a look together now. So penguins like to live in cool, temperate places, including coastal and offshore waters. They nest in burrows and often live in colonies in sand dunes or amongst rocks in sea caves. So that could be maybe habitat or location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read on to the next one because I'm not 100% sure at the moment which one it is, and I need a bit more information from the others to work it out. So little penguins are the only penguins that live in Australian waters. They come onto the shores of the south coast of Australia and New Zealand. So now I'm thinking that the second one is definitely the location of where penguins live. So I'll circle that and then put a circle there for red. And the first one is talking about their habitat. So this one is saying that they like to live in cool places off the shore waters. So it's telling us where they like to live. And the second one is the location. It's telling us where they actually live in the places that they like to live. All right, the next one says, little penguins are also known as fairy penguins due to their small size. So that's really not telling me anything about their babies. I am thinking this one's the conclusion, but I'm just going to read on to the next paragraph just to check I'm sure. Little penguins lay 1 to 3 eggs, which then take about 36 days to hatch, with both parents taking turns sitting on the nest. Chicks leave the nest when they are 8 to 9 weeks of age. Well, some parents, imagine that, your baby leaving after 8 to 9 weeks of age. It's very hard to imagine. So babies is obviously this one here, now that we've had a chance to read both of them. And our conclusion, our last statement here, is little penguins are also known as fairy penguins due to their small size. So this is basically just one other last fact about penguins that has been added at the end for the conclusion to sum up the text. All right, the last section we've got is the heading, the picture, and we've also got the description and introduction. So once again, what I'd like you to do is pause the video to read through the 2 paragraphs there and think about which one you think is the description and which one you think is the introduction. All right, let's have a look at it together now. So the first paragraph says, little penguins are the smallest of all penguins with a streamlined body, small wings, and a tail that helps them to swim. Their feathers act as insulation. Little penguins are grey and dark blue with a white abdomen. They weigh about 1 kilo and grow up to 43 centimetres. So this to me is sounding like it's the description of the penguins because it's giving us a lot of information about what they look like. So I'm going to mark that one there. And the next one is little penguins are flightless birds and there are lots of interesting facts about them. So that one is the introduction. It's got a topic sentence telling us what it's going to talk about, and it's got just a statement saying that there are lots of interesting facts about the little penguins. What I want you to think about now as well is where would the location of our heading be? Would we see it at the start of the text, in the middle of the text, or at the end of the text? So we know that a heading is always at the top of the text, and the picture can be in a variety of locations in the text, but for the purpose of this report, because it's quite short, the location of the picture would be towards the top of the text as well. All right, so this is what the finished report would look like. As I said, the heading at the top and the picture there, and then we've got our subheadings with all our facts underneath it. Have a think now about what was your favourite fact that we just read through when we were going through the facts about the penguin. My favourite fact was that they're also known as a fairy penguin due to their small size. That sounds so cute. All right, your first task now for the day for writing is using our Hunt the Text grid that we had last week as well. So I want you to fill in the Hunt the Text table with the information on the previous slides about the little penguin. And what I want you to do today is time yourself to see how quickly you are able to skim and scan the text to find the information. You might even already remember the title of the text and be able to write it down straight away. So try and time yourself doing this and quickly fill in as much information as you can. Remember, it just has to be short sentences or dot points, but you do want to have as much in there as you can. It's not about seeing how little you can do and how fast you can do it. We still want you to write down quality things. All right, let's have a look at another text today, and this time what we have to think of is what headings we could put where the green boxes are. So let's have a look at the first sentence here. Veiled chameleons are a very interesting member of the reptile family. So straight away, I know that this text is going to be called the animal's name, which is veiled chameleons. All right, and what would we call this first sentence here? I want you to have a think about what subheading we would call this first sentence here, and it's going to be introduction. All right, the next one we have is veiled chameleons are mostly green or brown, but when camouflaged, they can display orange, yellow, white, and blue spots. They grow between 25 and 61 centimeters long and weigh up to 200 grams. Each one has a large point on its head that can grow up to 5 centimeters called a casque. Their eyes can move independently and they have a long stick tongue. They can use their tails like a fifth limb. They can use their tails like a fifth limb. Sorry, that last word was hard to read. All right, I want you to have a think now. what would we call this paragraph here? It is doing what about the animal? It is describing it. So this paragraph here, the subheading would be description. All right, the next one we have is veiled chameleons can be found in Yemen and Saudi Arabia. So this subheading we now know is location, where do they live? So have a read of the next sentence whilst I'm writing the word. It's very tricky to use this writing tool, sorry. All right, so the next one says veiled chameleons live anywhere with trees, shrubs, and bushes ranging from dry plateaus to mountains. So the next one here is called habitat because it's telling us about where they live, what it's like. It's not just the country, it's what it's like where they live. All right, the next one we have is veiled chameleons are omnivores but favor meat over plants. They eat insects, worms, and other invertebrates. They hunt by camouflaging themselves and remaining very still before sneaking up and whipping up prey with their lightning fast tongues. So the next one we have here is their behavior. Oh, sorry, their diet. Sorry, their diet. So it's telling us what they eat. And an omnivore is someone that eats both meat and plants. So it's not a vegetarian or a carnivore like we saw on the other side. It's an omnivore. All right. Chameleons change color when they are frightened, excited, defending their territory, or attracting a mate. So this one now is called behavior, sorry. So it's telling us a bit about what they do. Have a think maybe about your behavior. How would someone be describing you if they were talking about your behavior as a fact sheet? All right, the next one we have is the veiled chameleon lays 30 to 85 eggs. That incubate for up to 200 days. This one we know is an easy one. It's babies. And next one we have is veiled chameleon are listed as least concern on the conservation status as they are commonly bred for pets. Habitat loss is affecting numbers in the wild. So this one is threats. And we know then as well, the last one is obviously going to be conclusion because we've already had our introduction. So let's read that now. The veiled chameleon survives well in captivity, so it is the most common type of chameleon used as pets. And I think my writing got better as the page went on. Let's have a think now. What was your favorite fact about this animal? I'm going to say my favorite fact is that it's a pet. I sort of don't think I know anyone that has ever had a chameleon as a pet, but maybe it's more common in countries overseas where the chameleon is more available. All right, we're going to do the hunt the text activity, same as before on the chameleon text. What I want you to do is time yourself again, and I really want you to see if you can beat your time from before. So that's the main part of our lessons for today. There's now an optional activity for years 3 and 4 students. This optional activity is you can choose your favorite animal and look up the animal on Google, go to a website and write down 3 to 5 facts about this animal in your own words. Can you add a subheading you could use for these facts? So thinking about what subheading would match your 3 to 5 fact summary. Just remember that this activity though is optional. This activity is for 5-6 students, and unfortunately for you guys, it is not optional. You need to complete this one. So what you're doing today is you're going to summarize the text on Eastern grey kangaroos using the table on the left-hand side here. So you need to click the link at the top, taking you to the website on Eastern grey kangaroos, and you're going to fill out the table. It's sort of like a little bit like the hunt the text table on the pages before, but a little bit more advanced for you guys. You need to write down the title and author, topic of the text, and what is the author's main point of the text. I want you to write down 3 important topic words used throughout the text, 3 important details and facts from the text, and a summary of the text in 1 sentence. So it's really important that when you're summarizing, you're able to wrap it up or summarize it in a short amount of words as possible. So read through your text, complete your table, and submit it to Mr. Kilpatrick. Thank you.